Howdy, howdy. Frosty510 here. Welcome to Ark Raiders, and today I'm going to talk about the Expedition. And there's been a lot of chat, and I think it's all pretty. I think it's reasonable to be upset about the fact that the Expedition holds back the skill points behind how much money you've got. So basically, along with having to actually fill out the caravan and do collect all the resources and donate a lot of your weapons and things that you find to get the expedition complete, you have to save up 5 million worth or currency. So you have to have a stash value of that much, which, yeah, I'm not anywhere near that. But oh, we should probably grab this because it'll add more value. The 5 million for 5 skill points is the issue. So everything else, though, we have, stash inventory, expansion. There's not a whole. I mean, you're losing more than you're gaining. But having said that, it's bearing in mind that if you play and there's like 10 expeditions, suddenly you've got yourself 100 odd new stash space and you've got yourself a bunch of new skill points. So that's 50 skill points if you max it out, of course. So the problem obviously is that people are unhappy, fairly, or you may think it's unfair, that they're unhappy that you have to have so much value and that it affects the way they play the game. So min-maxing money basically has been the order, and it's only just come out that you have to get to 5 million, that there is a cutoff, 1 million per skill point. So it's like, it's a little bit discouraging, particularly in the case that there's going to be a wipe. So people would otherwise, without this information, would just use their good stuff. They wouldn't worry about that because they go, oh, it's going to be wiped anyway. But because it's a voluntary wipe with the expedition, you get people second guessing. They go, well, why would I do this expedition if I just get extra stash and maybe skill points if I have the money? And the skin, they haven't shown us the skin either, but it's like, surely it's not worth it, the skin. But it really is that the circling logic around what is a casual player, what can you expect a casual player to do, or a regular player, or a committed player, what kind of player base are they trying to build with Ark Raiders? And with this, and with the announcement of the 5 million bucks, people may change the way they play. And so that's, going in matches, not bringing any loot, free loadout, and just killing people, just shooting other people, and just taking their loot and then exfilling. As opposed to okay, so in an ideal world, there's a couple different ways this could be fixed. So number one, of course, they could just scrap it and say everyone on the expedition, everyone who's prepared for the expedition and gone through all the steps can, they get everything. Or, but I do feel like there should be some reward for people who are, that level of committed. So they've played that much, they should get a benefit from that. Apart from the knowledge benefit, of course, of knowing the maps better and knowing where the loot is and all that sort of stuff like that. They've built up their knowledge. They should be rewarded for their efforts. So that's where it's like, it's kind of hard because when people say that, oh, you're not a casual, or you are a casual, whatever, there's got to be a win-win for everyone. That's the tricky part as the developer, obviously. But I think at the present, the 5 skill points, it's not make or break yet, but once they go through the skill tree, I think once they've had a little look at it and they actually revise some things, either they make them stronger or they just accept that they are how they are. That's how things will change. The interesting part is the future. The skill tree may change. They may add more skills, may add another part of the tree, and suddenly these extra skill points will matter a lot. So it's going to be, the possibilities of negative outcomes from this are great. And the effect on the player base is the thing that's really, really important. So alienating people who don't have as much time, who have still managed to get the freaking project ready, the expedition ready, versus, you know, rewarding those who are well and truly prepared, who have 5 million worth of, you know, currency or stash loot. And then it'll get easier for them in future, because say they go on the expedition, they get more stash space, they can build up more stash loot easier. And they know where to go to get stuff, they can collect more, and it'll make it easier to meet the requirements of the next expedition and the one after, and they'll just get stronger and stronger and stronger. And the elite, the players who have the most time to spend on the game and do it the most efficiently, will just separate themselves further and further. But that's not necessarily a bad thing. They should feel rewarded. So it's one of those things where this is early pain, where if they were to say, okay, this is the first expedition, we didn't give you enough warning about the 5 million, we'll give everyone the 5 skill points this time only. But next time, you've had your notice. You have to get the 5 million. Or make it less, or just scrap it. Or some of the other ideas were, you know, the wealth accumulation. So it's your, in total, it records how much wealth you've ever accumulated in your stash, and that all counts, which would be pretty nice. I'm not sure they've got that set up, you know, on the calculating side of things. But if they can calculate your stash value just by, you know, going to sell it and all that stuff, I'm sure they can. But I feel like, yeah, you could definitely argue this is set up for a win, where they roll it back just to get the public on side and be like, oh, okay. The devs go, oh, yeah, we are listening to the player base. People aren't happy with this because it's such short notice. Maybe next expedition we'll revisit it. They could just do that easily and just put it to the next one and then deal with it then, and then they add a bunch of different stuff. Maybe the player base shrinks a little bit as you'd expect, and there's not as much of a pushback. And the people who are playing, you know, played maybe double the amount of time by the next expedition, they'll feel like they need to be doubly rewarded. So giving them that exclusive rewards, maybe extra cosmetics and things like that, even more stuff for the next expedition, would make them feel better. And again, it's kind of a different thing, managing a wider audience versus managing the more niche group, particularly in extraction setting. So the fact that, you know, they're approaching it in this way is interesting, I think, and there's still room to change, but we'll see if they are committed to the cause. You know, perhaps they want to have a bit of that FOMO for people who didn't pick up the game as early as others, and they come in and go, someone else has got skill points more than me, or they've got things more than me, and they're like, oh, they're using some blueprint I haven't got, I want to go and find that. They want to bring in that feeling of, oh, you missed the last expedition, oh, you missed out on this and that, oh, and that guy's got that special skin, that's from the expedition, oh, so you had to play and you had to earn it. They want to have that feeling that you if you don't invest your time, you're going to miss out on cool stuff. Kind of an early Fortnite skins thing. I think that's like a good example in terms of a live service, but I mean, that's kind of where we're basing the development of the game around. Was they wanted to be, you know, live service, and then went, no, wait, this isn't going to work, we're going to do monetization, but they still have live service elements of the game, a lot of it. So, but they said all games should be somewhat live service. They shouldn't ever just stop developing. They should always be iterating, or at least considering it, depending on the nature of the game. Multiplayer obviously has to, but single player games do change. Some of them, some games get a lot of updates. It's very strange. After a long time, they still get updates. So, you know, committed developers always come back to some games and keep on doing things. It's very odd gaming at times, but back to what I think. I'm not so concerned about the skill points, although, you know, anyone with a brain can look at the skill tree and go, there's only a couple things of real value, and maybe that'll change in future. So it's like you're future-proofing yourself by putting in the work to get this 5 million and then getting the skill points. But I'm much more concerned, the most important thing for me is stash space. I think the stash space accumulation is going to be everything. And when that gets up big, it's going to be such an important thing. For me, I have stash anxiety, and I constantly have it. So I'm always like, oh, I never have enough room. And this is from very, very early on to playing Arc Raiders. I played in the beta, and then it was, and then I was like, I got the game, and then I actually found it much more enjoyable. And then I played and played and played, and I just got so frustrated after every match, overflowing stash, and having to get rid of things, not sure what to get rid of, what to keep. And it was just, that was the thing that's the most painful for me for this, for the game. The most painful element is UI and stash. And it's just going through and going, what do I need, what do I not need? Would it be easier if it wasn't 4 wide, it was like 5 wide or 6 wide? Sure, I'm on PlayStation 5, I know there are limitations with consoles and sort of stuff like that, but I mean, you should just stack snow globes, like, but money matters too, so you could just sell, yeah, but you got to spend money to make money, or you just do free loadouts. I personally don't like free loadouts. I will mention that because I think it's important in the current climate. I think you should always bring a looting Mark 1 at least, because safe pockets is gold. Just being able to put one thing in there mentally is really, really important, particularly if you find yourself not enjoying the game a whole lot, like you're running free loadouts and you're not getting much because you're getting, people are doing, you know, glitches through walls and shooting you, or they're just shooting you at exfil. If you have a safe pocket, you always have one thing to send back. I think mentally that's so important, that you always have one thing, one little bit of safety net. Oh, I got one thing out at least. Or you bring a wolf pack in the safe pack and you don't use it, maybe not, sure, but you have it just in case you need it. Or you put your bullets in there. That's just weird though. I mean, you can do whatever you like, but that's how I feel about that part. But back to the expedition. I mean, it's all interconnected. It's one of the things about goal setting in games, is having people, the players, try to achieve goals. The developers set them and they go, we want you to try and achieve this, or we have this goal, you can try and achieve it if you want. In this case, there's no skin reward for getting all blueprints, but there should be more rewards for, I think, you know, doing all the quests and all that sort of stuff. And maybe they should be part of Expedition. Maybe they should be part of something else entirely, like your own Hall of Records, things you put in your room, that you've done all the quests, that you got all the stuff. I love how, you know, it shows guns and things. And then you get the rubber duckies and you put the rubber duckies around. I didn't know about the rubber ducky thing. It's like, oh, and then, oh, it's scrapping. So some of the other temporary buffs, and once you've done an expedition, I think you're committed to doing them forever. Basically, is that you get additional scrap generation from Scrappy. You get extra XP, which accumulates. It gets bigger and bigger and bigger as you go. So it's one of those things that I think, with the leveling, having massively increased XP because you've gone on multiple expeditions will be really, really impactful on those just getting back up to strength. But compared to the people who never go on an expedition, I think it'll be interesting to see how the difference in how they play, how it affects the matchmaking, because I know there's talk about gear-based matchmaking, or, you know, if you shot other people, then you go in matches with people who shoot other people. If you're friendly, go with matches with friendly. There's so much different experiences with online multiplayer games that it's hard to just take personal experience from different people and just assume that there's some kind of algorithm rule in place that decides, you know, to reward certain kinds of behaviors. What's your experience? Because I think I found a mixed bag, and mostly positive though. Like, well, vast majority positive, where people were willing to talk and not shoot and all, and, you know, work together. Not as many rats, so I think I've been pretty lucky. But then it did happen definitely when I made a committed effort to be a second shooter, not shoot first, that things did improve. And I know that's not the most PvP focused answer, but you can still win the encounters, and I still, you know, took people down when the situation called for it, but yeah, certainly didn't starting shit, I suppose. That was up. But I think this is a critical moment, because Expedition, is it for casuals only? No, it's for the sweats only. But it's like, if everyone could get the Expedition ready, everyone should be encouraged to come along and do the wipe, though. That's the thing about it that's kind of annoying. Is like, you want everyone to go on the journey, similar to Path of Exile leagues. You want everyone in the new league. Because there's no split in the player base, maybe there will be a split in the matchmaking, who knows? I don't like the idea that someone wouldn't want to go on this because they're going to miss out on skill points. Like, I think I would prefer them not wanting to go because they don't want to lose their blueprints. That's a totally valid reason. Like, they've got big progress, they found a bunch of cool stuff that they want to make, and they have access to. They don't want to lose that. Totally fine. But if they're not doing Expedition because they're going to miss out on some skill points, it's like, devs, they've already done the hard part. They've already built the damn thing. They've done all the hard work, and then you're just slapping them in the face and saying, another 5 million, please. It's like, yeah. I mean, casual or not, you proved your commitment by getting the Expedition, the project done. You got the project done, you're ready to go on Expedition. The devs can look at you seriously and go, okay, you put in the work, have the 5 skill points, we'll talk about maybe different stuff happening in the next one. There's got to be some sort of, at least dialogue, I hope, where they just go, nah, get 5 million. Or not. One of the things, I am relieved though that it's not, you know, the stash points that are held to that 5 million, just the skill points. If it was the stash points for the 5 million, then yeah, I would be massively upset. And I would just feel like, I'd be just pissed off. Because I think even with 12 now, that won't solve any problems, but it's just that, you know, in future as it builds up, it's going to be much better. Like when I get to, you know, you can get up to, I mean, 292 is nothing to sneeze at, but then I feel like one of the biggest things, the biggest problems I have with Arc Raiders, and it's in Stash, is stack size. I think stack size is one thing I'd want as a reward. So my idea for the biggest reward you can get from going on Expedition is that you can choose maybe 1, maybe 2 items in your stash and make them have a stash size of 50 or 100. Or even higher. And I think if I could get 50 stack of bloody magnetic accelerators or Exodus modules or maybe Leaper pulse units, something that just, I mean, bloody advanced arc power cells would be fantastic. Arc circuitry, arc motion cores, 50 stack of that would be so nice. Or bloody explosive compound, or bloody all the gun parts, the mod components, processors, everything here. The stash size is completely arbitrary. Yeah, you said green's got high ones. No, look, that one's got 10 and this one's got 15. Why do that? Durable cloth is 10 and the duct tape is 15. And then these are 3. Rusted bolts is 3. It's like, and freaking metal brackets. I don't think there's any logic you could argue for any of these decisions around the stack sizes. And I think this is the biggest problem with the game. More than the 5 skill points, stash size is the stack size is such bullshit. Freaking signal amplifiers, sensors at 5. Bloody rusted tools at 3. Same with rubber pads. I just don't agree. I think you should, it'd be such a great reward to be able to choose something and you have a special stash slot for 50 stack and you could just put bloody defibs in there, or bandages, or shield regenerators, and you could just make them and stock them up. That'd be so nice. That would be such a great reward. Special stash slots for higher stack size. And then you get like one every expedition. That'd be so good. Honestly, you had like 10 after 10 would be massive. That's the thing I think they should look at. Customizing your stash. Not just giving us more slots, but changing the way items are stacked. Because it's such a pain in the ass. Like, oh, 500 stacks of chemicals, 500 stacks of fabrics, bloody 500 stacks of plastic parts and rubber parts. Bloody, that would be nice too. Because one of the things that the game is kind of indirectly always putting pressure on, not indirectly, directly putting pressure on your stash at all times with Scrappy. Scrappy is designed to give you stash tab anxiety. Always filling it up. Always putting more stuff in. I know it's useful, but when you're at like 278 and suddenly you do one claim and then it's full and it's like, oh, and you're just like, oh, it's not merged properly. Yeah, okay. I've talked enough. I've rambled enough. That's one of my biggest issues. Yes, I hope they do change their mind about the 5 skill points just on this occasion, because there's not enough warning. But I don't like the way it changes to the gameplay as well, that it encourages you to not use your good stuff. That's stupid, and they should just scrap it. The 5 million for 5 skill points. I think you either scrap it, last point, you either scrap it or you make arc components worth more, like triple the value, only for the value of your stash, not for when you sell them to the merchants. That way it's balanced. But you should make like a bombardier cell should be worth like 60,000, 30,000, each one being worth like 15,000. So you're getting your 45k as opposed to 15k. I think that would be smarter. It encourages people to kill arc, kill big arc, and that's actually building up the value of the wealth that you've accumulated. Because you can't use a lot of these for crafting, you know, like Leaper Pulse units and Rocketeer drivers. You use them for a workbench upgrade once, and then you're done. And then maybe with the project with the Leaper Pulse units. I think arc components, major components being worth significantly more for your overall stash value is just a simple solution to this problem. If it's going to be the same way going forward that you need 5 million in stash value, make big arc worth big money. I buddy sold my matriarch cause to buddy put in the expedition thing. That would have been good money too. Yeah. Alright, so I got some solutions, but we'll see. It's ultimately in their hands to embark with the future of Arc Raiders. And just a bit of the sentiment is really interesting to see how it shifts. And, you know, I know there's people saying get good and all that sort of stuff, but it's just a bit much. The 5 million is just a bit too much, particularly because going forward, what they could do is just have it as the 6th step. The final step is that you need to accumulate that 5 million. And just have a little, you know, a line underneath the blurb here saying, you know, how much value you've got already. Maybe they'll do that. But it's like, I feel like am I crazy? I felt like the project was demanding enough. It demanded a lot of stuff. Particularly the 5th step, you know, the last step. It demanded a lot of resources, a lot of different things, medical stuff and weapons, and I really think they asked enough, and people delivered their hard work and got the thing ready. They shouldn't be punished with being asked to do another $5 million. It's a bit ridiculous. Alright, it's been Frosty510 rambling about Arc Raiders Expedition 33. Catch you next time. Tell me what you think. Do you agree? Do you disagree? Do you think it needs to be very gate-kept and exclusive and only a small part of the community will ever engage with expeditions? And so it doesn't matter how high the exorbitant some of the rewards are? Or it should be higher, 50 million, because, you know, someone who can get 5 million is a casual. Yeah, you can define whatever you like, but if you finish the damn project, you're worth getting the rewards. That's how I define it. Yeah. Catch you next time. Bye-bye. I mean, bye-bye!